All right, so the boss has been getting a lot of praise for going up on stage and taking a stand against the man in the White House. So there's a little supercut of some of his comments. He's in Manchester now.
In my home, the America I love, the America I've written about, that has been a beacon of hope and liberty for 250 years, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration. They have no concern or idea of what it means to be deeply American.
Okay. All right. So the boss dropping those truth bombs. Well, somehow the big guy, not the Biden one, the new one, got wind of that, and this is what he truthed out about Bruce Springsteen. I see that highly overrated Bruce Springsteen goes to a foreign country to speak badly about the president of the United States. Never liked him. Never liked his music. Okay, Darkness on the Edge of Town gets me every time. But other than that, or his radical left politics, and importantly, he's not a talented guy, just a pushy, obnoxious jerk who fervently supported crooked Joe Biden, a mentally incompetent fool, and our worst ever president, who came close to destroying our country. If I wasn't elected, it would have been gone by now. Sleepy Joe didn't have a clue as to what he was doing. But Springsteen is dumb as a rock and couldn't see what was going on. Or could he? Which is even worse. This dried out prune of a rocker, his skin is all atrophied, ought to keep his mouth shut until he gets back into the country. And that's just standard fare. Then we'll all see how it goes for him. We have space at CCOT.
Yeah.
We've got a bed set aside for you, Bruce. Okay, so yeah, all right. I mean, it's funny and all. And for good measure, he took a side shot at Taylor Swift. Has anyone noticed that since I said I hate Taylor Swift, she's no longer hot?
That's good. Fucking funny.
Oh my God, you can't make it up. Okay, all right. So look,
I think she's still doing pretty good.
I think she's doing all right there, Donnie. She's doing okay. All right. So there are certain people whose job in our media ecosystem is to represent certain archetypes in order to give a patina of sanction from those sectors of society to criminals. So Oprah is that for black women. Her job is to give credibility to sex criminals by standing next to them and giving them the imprimatur, the implied imprimatur of the community of black women. Bruce Springsteen's job is to be a fake working class white guy to give cover to a lot of the people who have destroyed the lives of working class people of all colors. That is what he does. So, for example, he's exoriating Donald Trump, and I mean, a lot of what he's saying is true. He doesn't mention one particular subject. You'll notice about a certain Middle Eastern country. He didn't mention anything about the genocide that Trump carried over from the previous administration that he endorsed. Didn't mention a word about that. Nothing about that. But okay, so I remember a guy named Barack Obama. And Bruce Springsteen's supposed to really care about the working man. He cares about the working class. So what did Obama do when he was president? As I recall, Obama's foreclosure relief program was designed to help bankers, not homeowners. And he very famously prosecuted people who lied on their mortgage applications, while the bankers that destroyed the economy, they all skated, right? They all skated. They not only skated, as we saw in a previous segment, they paid him off when he got out with speaking fees. As soon as he got out, he did $1.2 million for 3 speeches to these banks, right? How was he about unions? I care about the working man. Oh, born to run, right? Oh, Obama quiet as union protests grow in swing states as 2011. President spent a full day in Ohio this week while union workers were raising their voices in protest. The demonstrators were in Columbus. Obama was in Cleveland. He spoke all day long about small business and innovation, yet did not say a word about the labor conflict, and that's NPR, which is not known for its criticism of Barack Hussein Obama. Hey, wasn't this happening while he was president? Yeah, I believe he was president when the outback redneck sheriffs out there were deploying water hoses on Native Americans at Standing Rock in freezing temperatures, who were trying to defend their land and their water. So, wow, man, Bruce Springsteen, man, he must have had some very salty words for Barack Obama, this champion of people and workers and the disenfranchised. Now, we've all seen this video, but it never gets old. You might remember Barack Obama took a little trip to Flint and pretended to drink the water, told the almost entirely black crowd their water was safe, even though it clearly was not.
The reason I know I'm okay is because I already had some Flint water. There we go. I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Not a stunt. Looks like a stunt. You didn't drink that water.
Now, I'm going to talk about this. Everybody settle down.
Does that look like you drank that water?
Yeah.
You didn't drink that water. All right, man. What a piece of shit. What a piece of shit. You go to this town of these poor people, first black president. It's basically a black community. They're all being poisoned. Their kids' lives are being destroyed by lead poisoning. And you go out there and you use your facile charm to tell them that it's safe to drink this poisoned water. So was Springsteen must have really given it to Barack, right? Oh, not so much. Not so much. Wow. Seems to really like this guy, this champion of the working class. That's so strange. Oh, he even did a whole podcast with him. You were right. It was on Spotify, but I think they showed it on Netflix. I'm almost positive. Renegades. They did a whole thing waxing poetic about the true heart of America. What I see out there are a lot of people with no jobs, partly because of my policies. But, it was very big with the libs. They did a whole book together. They wrote a whole book together. Yeah, that didn't seem to bother him. How about Hillary Clinton? Hillary Clinton is quite right. $15 is much too high for a national minimum wage. She was fighting against the $15 minimum wage. That doesn't really seem like a pro-worker policy. What else did she say on the campaign trail? Hillary Clinton, single-payer health care Will never, ever happen. That doesn't sound very pro-worker. And if you remember, I think there was a primary between Hillary Clinton and this guy Bernie Sanders, who was actually arguing the opposite. I didn't see Bruce out there. I didn't see Bruce out there talking about Bernie Sanders. I don't think I've ever heard him say the fucking name Bernie Sanders. That's very weird for a guy in this era who's supposed to champion the working class to not say anything about the most successful politician talking about those issues in our lifetimes, I would say. I think we could safely say. Springsteen performs at Hillary Clinton rally in Philadelphia.
That was the eve
Weird.
of the election.
It's the
November
eve of the
7th.
election. That's very weird for a working class champion like Bruce Springsteen. How about Joe Biden? The Americans Joe Biden left behind on the bankruptcy bill. 2005 amendments to the bill. Biden voted against borrowers drowning in medical debt, seniors, service members, union members, and victims of deadbeat dads. And that's in addition to the very well-known making it impossible to discharge your student loans in bankruptcy. These are other things that he supported, amendments to that bill that made it even worse. Seems like a guy that if you're a working class champion, you'd want to run away from. Or he talked about civil rights laws that made the country more fair and just. Well, Joe Biden did everything he could, working hand in sheet with his segregationist pals to undermine a lot of those civil rights legislation with his crime bill. Joe Biden bragged about a harsh 1992 crime bill that did everything but hang people for jaywalking. That was what he said. It does everything but hang people for jaywalking. Now, is this okay? Well, he outgrew that? No. 2019, right at the beginning of his campaign, he bragged about how his segregationist friends never called him boy. They always called him son, and how they could get things done together. So what were they getting done together? Were they getting lowering prescription drug prices, where you might say, well, he was willing to do a deal with the devil to help the American? No, they were doing this. They were doing this. They were creating legislation to lock up mostly black and brown people. He did this literally with segregationist Republicans. And that is who Bruce Springsteen is very comfortable doing the narration for his campaign ad, using his song, My Hometown, to help paint him as this salt of the earth Scranton Joe. I mean, actually, he probably identified with Joe Biden as two fake working class guys who play on this false impression that they actually care about working class people. And how about Kamala, man? Kamala tried to keep inmates locked up for cheap labor. Seems like exactly the kind of thing somebody with this Woody Guthrie kind of an image that Springsteen tries to project. That's exactly the kind of thing that Woody Guthrie would have spoken out about, don't you think? That's exactly the kind of issue he would have honed in on. Harris says she opposes Israel arms embargo as she shuts down protesters. Well, it goes without saying that Bruce isn't going to say shit about that. Because if he says shit about that, all of his friends are going to call him, right? You're going to get a call from the Clintons, going to get a call from Obama's. It's not going to be welcome anymore. He keeps talking like that. Pretty soon, you're going to get articles in Salon about how Bruce Springsteen turned right wing. You know, they're going to talk about how he went crazy. You know, what happened to Bruce Springsteen, right? He doesn't want any of that. So there he is. You know, he recorded a whole commercial endorsing Kamala Harris. And I want you to look at that image. I'm not going to bother playing the video, but look at the image. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Look at how crafted that is. Yeah, that's what Bruce Springsteen does. He goes to a greasy spoon in the morning and has a couple of fried eggs and toast. Yeah. This is what he wears. This is what he wears around the house. Yeah, Bruce Springsteen, he's about to go put in a day at the plant. Right? There's all a put on. He's a fake white working class guy. That's his job. That's his use to the establishment. They deploy him to put a fake rubber stamp on their criminal neoliberal candidates who are robbing people like what he pretends to be. And then he's going to go up there all of a sudden He's got a problem with Donald Trump. And hey, man, we do a whole show now that the power has shifted where we slam Trump up, down, sideways. I'm not saying what he's saying is wrong, but the hypocrisy of it is pretty disgusting to me. So, fuck you, Bruce. I like your music, but you're so full of shit. It's really sad because we need somebody of Bruce Springsteen's stature to actually speak out against what's happened to workers in this country. And it's pretty disgusting the way he peddles his ass to the highest bidder to give some kind of a credibility to these people that they really do not deserve. So there, God does have a sense of humor. So some say this is Bruce doing a tribute to Joe Biden.
I'll tell you, Trump might really be the Antichrist because they say the devil has the devil's luck. It's like everybody who takes a dig at him ends up getting embarrassed themselves. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's true.
Like he always has the last laugh, no matter what.
Yeah, that went pretty viral. But yeah, man. I mean, what now? You you speak for working people. Like I don't know any working people who take him seriously on that level. I mean, look, he did write a lot of music that's very relatable for people from that background, but he just parlayed it into using that image to run cover for these people who have destroyed the lives of the people that he sings about on those albums. Did he at one time care about those people? Because a lot of that music is about a kind of dark side of America, Badlands. A lot of it is about, things gone wrong, born in the USA, in spite of the way, he asked Reagan, he pointed, because Reagan invoked it as being about the new spirit of optimism, and it's actually about how the Vietnam veterans got fucked over. So at that time, he wrote a lot about a kind of America going wrong for people and did a lot of kind of critique of it. But even if he might have started out sincere, he got the money, he got the fame, and you start hobnobbing with these powerful people. I think even for people in Springsteen's position, these people in Hollywood who are celebrities, I think it goes to their head to be included in the councils of these famous politicians and these world leaders. And you identify with that class. And it's very easy when there's no one around you who's going to call you out for being a phony, to pretend that you're on the side of the angels, right? Because you're not on the side of Trump, so you must be the good guy.
Well, you talk about like, and there's been a lot of conversation in recent years about how Occupy Wall Street was really like a turning point. How like the post-Occupy Wall Street discourse has been an op of sorts, right? Like ever since the Tea Party and Occupy, there's been an effort to decouple class analysis from like political conversation. And I think that I think Springsteen is a good example of that because, and maybe some of this is Trump. Maybe Trump is a function of that. Like, don't forget, it was Bill Clinton who kind of nudged Trump to run for office. Maybe thinking, hey, if we scare people with Trump, they'll embrace neoliberalism again because Occupy Wall Street represented a departure from that. Springsteen came out in early 2012, which was right after Occupy Wall Street, with one of his best albums ever, I think. It was called Wrecking Ball. And it was clearly a response to Occupy Wall Street. I mean, it was clearly a lot of those songs on there were very sort of like militant, class conscious songs. Shackled and Drawn, Death to My Hometown is a great tune. And then there were some songs on there that he had written in earlier years, like Land of Hope and Dreams, which is a beautiful song. But that's an amazing album. And that was very much his Occupy Wall Street album. And it was really his last album of that sort. Like past that point, he's pretty much just been a lib, right?
Right.
And so like something happened there to the society. Something
Yeah.
happened there, 2011, 2012. That was a real turning point in so many ways, including the trajectory of the boss, because That album, because just this segment made me think, so I Googled the track list. Yeah, Jack of All Trades, This Depression, The Song Wrecking Ball, We Take Care of Our Own. It's a fucking great album. See, this is a preview of my music podcast if and when I get that off the ground. But that was an amazing album. And yeah, it was the last of its kind. Like, he's just
Right.
been a milquetoast Democrat lib since then.
Well, and just watching the libs just pouring all over this, like, oh my God, this is so brave. That's not brave. That's not brave. What would have been brave is if he came out there when Joe Biden was president. It would be brave now, given the niche that he's settled into.
Right.
If he came out when Joe Biden was president and said, you know what? I don't think it's right to be genociding a bunch of kids in Gaza. That would have been brave. You'll never see him do that.
Exactly. Thanks for watching our video. We're currently raising money to produce our documentary film on the Uhuru movement. Go to givesendgo.com/do dissidents to chip in.
Every dollar you give goes towards the project. We do not take any kind of salary on these. We mostly live on Gatorade when we're on the road, so even solid food is iffy, just enough to get by. But we do not take any pay for this. Every dollar actually goes into what we need to shoot the project. The Uhuru movement is a subject that really deserves more exposure. Everybody heard about it through the court case, and that was an important thing to elevate. But they've done incredible community work demonstrating a different way that is socialist and not dependent on the government at the same time, which a lot of people don't even realize that still exists in the tradition of the Black Panther food and education programs. And to show there is such a strong community like that with such strong leadership is really important, particularly at this historical moment.
Yeah, so we're really excited about doing the project, but we need your help. So go to givesendgo.com/do dissidents to chip in. Thanks very much for your support.
Please clap.